Many of you are likely well aware of the meme status that Skyrim has achieved because of all of its ports. It all began with classic, basic Skyrim, which released back in 2011, almost a decade ago, 2 generations ago, I might add, and then that was followed up by the release of its numerous expansions. Then came the Legendary Edition, also released during the 360 and PS3 era. And that basically took all of the expansions, the base game, and compiled it in one package. Then, the following generation, during the PS4 and Xbox One era, they released Skyrim Special Edition, which utilized 64-bit instead of 32-bit, which expanded the possibilities of mods, and also they did add some new effects and graphical enhancements here and there, but overall it was basically the same game. There were some compatibility issues between the 32-bit and 64-bit version as far as mods were concerned, but 64-bit did open things up in a number of ways, so there was that. They did charge full price for it. This was back in 2016, so the game was about 5 years old at that point. There were certainly a lot of arguments about whether the special edition was worth full price, but that is how it came out, and existing owners of Skyrim and all of its DLCs did get a free upgrade as long as all of those DLCs were purchased before October 28th, 2016. Outside of that condition, you'd have to buy this game at full price, and it sold well enough, it would seem, because there is a new port in town for this new generation of consoles for the PS5 and Xbox Series era of consoles. If you go to Bethesda Game Studios Twitter right now, you'll find this tweet that reads, "Thank you for joining us in Skyrim and sharing in some of our favorite memories. Check out some of the details of what we've planned for the Skyrim 10th anniversary here." So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, 11/11, exactly a decade after the 11/11/11 release of original Skyrim. Join us on 11/11 for the Skyrim 10th anniversary fan celebration. Scrolling down, you'll find details about what they're calling the anniversary version of Skyrim. Here it is in big bold letters: free Creation Club content, next-gen enhancements, and the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition. So starting with the free Creation Club content, this is something that will be offered to all owners of Skyrim Special Edition on any platform, including Xbox Game Pass subscribers. So if you already own Special Edition, you don't have to buy Anniversary Edition to get these free content. So 3 free pieces of content from the Creation Club: fishing, survival mode, and even new quests with Saints and Seducers. And alongside that, existing owners of the Special Edition of Skyrim will be getting a free upgrade to an enhanced version on November 11th that takes advantage of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series hardware. Now, they don't exactly detail what these next-gen enhancements are. I imagine faster loading times, graphical upgrades here and there, but without specifics, it's hard to tell exactly how substantial these enhancements will be. In the next paragraph, they detail the Anniversary Edition, which they call the most definitive version of Skyrim to date. By saying to date, they are leaving the possibility open that this game might see even more ports down the line. In addition to the 3 free Creation Club items mentioned above, this version contains the full game plus all 3 expansions, which is what you'd expect, and over 500 pieces of unique content from Creation Club, including pre-existing and new quests, dungeons, bosses, weapons, spells, and more. I imagine packaging in this Creation Club content is how they'll attempt to justify charging full price again for a Skyrim through this Anniversary Edition, and I don't know how that will be received, though it is worth noting that they haven't officially announced the pricing model for this package. They haven't announced whether it'll be $60 or $70 or if it'll be discounted given how old this game is, though I personally would be surprised if they didn't charge full price. And the fact that they haven't announced a price already seems to suggest that maybe they just want to get this out there before relaying what could be potentially controversial news if it turns out that they are charging full price for this decade-old game, even if it does include all the Creation Club content. All that stuff is old content as well. I imagine that Bethesda will also attempt to justify the full price by touting how this is going to be an enhanced version of Skyrim, though again without specifics. it's hard to know just how substantial these will be. Now, if you already own Special Edition, you may not have to shell out full price for this. Bethesda states here that existing owners of Special Edition and Xbox Game Pass subscribers will also receive the option to purchase an Anniversary Edition upgrade for their Special Edition version of the game to gain access to all of the additional content found in the Anniversary Edition. So I imagine they're going to charge like $10, $20 for existing owners to upgrade and gain access to the 500 pieces of Creation Club content, while those who are buying Skyrim for the first time or don't own Special Edition will be shelling out full price. But this is all speculation. We'll have to wait before Bethesda officially announces what the pricing models will be. I don't know why they're keeping those details so closely guarded. That just makes it a little suspect, but yeah, I'll wait and see how they decide to do this. Reactions to all this have varied across the internet. Some people are going, well, I guess I'm buying my nth copy of Skyrim. Others are saying,
oh shit, here we go again.
And there are those whose reactions have been along the lines of,
you can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
For those who never got to interact with the Creation Club content, who decided not to purchase that stuff, be it out of principle, given that those are essentially paid mods, or because they just weren't interested in the content or couldn't justify the price of the content, we'll certainly be getting a lot of stuff added to the game. Cosmetics, others will be new weapons and items, and others will be quests, dungeons, bosses, and whatnot, which does give the package a bit of value. Then again, generally from what I've heard, Creation Club content isn't all that amazing, given that there tends to be a mod that does what Creation Club does better, but we are still looking at additional content that will be bundled into the default package, so it is stuff to look forward to. I'm personally more curious about this enhanced version of Skyrim and what that will bring to the table. One of the biggest complaints surrounding the Skyrim ports is the fact that with each port, it doesn't feel like Bethesda does enough to bolster these packages, be it by fixing the glaring bugs and issues that are still there even almost a decade later that modders have had to fix. While the Special Edition did add that 64-bit support, fundamentally it's basically the same package, and people feel like Bethesda could do more with these additional ports given, how much time passes between each one of them. So with this enhanced version, I'm curious to see whether they'll go beyond graphical and performance enhancements. Those are to be expected with an old game taking advantage of new hardware. I'm more curious about whether they'll implement those quality of life improvements alongside those much needed technical issue fixes. I personally don't imagine that'll turn out to be the case, but I suppose only time will tell. For me, a great example of how to do a generational port is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which not only compiles 3 games into one alongside all of their DLC, but also BioWare went out of their way to look at what was aging badly in those games and enhanced and tweaked what needed to be enhanced and tweaked. Mass Effect 1 especially got a rather significant, I don't want to say overhaul, but a lot of changes that made it a significantly more modern experience, I think. All of that for $60, I think, is an amazing value, a kind of value that Skyrim ports have not had. But yeah, another Skyrim port, and no doubt it'll sell a good amount of copies, given Skyrim continues to be incredibly popular today, in large part because of the modding community and the extended lease on life that's granted to the game. Skyrim is essentially infinitely replayable with how much new user-created content is continuously uploaded to modding websites like Nexus Mods, which has been rocked a bit by some of the controversies with policy changes that the website has implemented, but there's still a strong modding scene around this game. There was that one time back in 2018 when Todd Howard addressed the constant releases of Skyrim ports by telling games industry this: even now, the amount of people who play Skyrim 7 years later, millions of people every month are playing that game. That's why we keep releasing it. If you want us to stop releasing it, stop buying it. Which, on some level, touche. And Bethesda's pretty self-aware about all of this. I mean, there was that one time when they released the Skyrim Special Edition sketch that featured a parody port of an Alexa version of Skyrim. Look, I don't mind it when games are ported over from one generation to another, as long as the amount of effort that was put into the port justifies the price. So if you're going to charge full price again for an old game, it has to feel like you put in more work than just compiling a bunch of content. You have to add enhancements that take advantage of new hardware on top of taking advantage of all that time that you've had between these releases to look at fixes that could be added, quality of life improvements that could be made. And that mainly is what I hope this new edition of Skyrim will bring to the table. I'm curious to hear from you guys whether for you the 500 pieces of unique content from Creation Club would justify this being a full price package, and what you expect to see from this enhanced version of Skyrim releasing alongside this bundle. But yeah, that's my opinion, and I'd love to hear your take in the comments below. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.